She spoke to her sister every night. The chair by the window never moved. 3 years of answers that never came back, until silence learned how to breathe like someone listening. What would you say if the impossible finally answered? Noah speaks to the dark. Every night, just before sleep pulls her under, she tells Iris about her day. The words come soft and careful, like offerings laid at an invisible altar. She talks about the coffee that tasted like rust this morning, the way the train lurched at the same curve it always does, the neighbor's dog that watched her through the fence with eyes that seemed to know something she didn't. She speaks as if Iris is listening, because for 3 years she has been. The room is small. Dim lamplight catches on dust suspended in the stillness, each particle drifting like a tiny world with nowhere to go. The sheets are cool against her skin, smooth and impersonal. She lies on her back, one hand resting on her chest, feeling the rise and fall of her own breathing. Her voice is the only sound except for the low hum of the refrigerator, bleeding through the wall from the kitchen. The library was quiet today, she says into the ceiling. Mrs. Chen returned that book about birds, the one you would have loved. Her apartment is neat, almost too neat. Everything has a place. The books are alphabetized. The dishes are put away. The floor is swept clean of anything that might suggest chaos or surrender. But there is one chair at the kitchen table that faces the window instead of the room. Iris's chair. Noah has never sat in it, not once in 3 years. She doesn't know why she keeps it that way. Or maybe she does, and admitting it would mean admitting other things too. I saw a cardinal today, Noah continues, her voice barely louder than a whisper. It was sitting on the fence outside work, just sitting there, not moving. I thought about taking a picture, but by the time I got my phone out, it was gone. She pauses, listens to the silence that follows. It's a silence she knows well, familiar, almost comfortable, the kind that doesn't demand anything from her except that she keep filling it. Some nights, she tells Iris things that don't matter. The weather, what she ate for lunch, the way the light looked coming through the library windows at exactly 3 in the afternoon. Other nights, she tells her things that do. The weight in her chest that never quite goes away. The dreams where Iris is still alive and their children again, climbing trees in the backyard, and everything is exactly as it should be. Tonight she keeps it simple. I miss you, she says, same as always. The lamplight flickers once, then steadies. A trick of old wiring, nothing more. Noah closes her eyes and lets her hand fall away from her chest. Her breathing slows. The ritual is almost complete. This is how grief becomes routine. You wake up. You go through the motions. You come home. You speak into the emptiness because speaking is easier than silence. And silence, Noah has learned, is where the real ghosts live. She used to think grief was something that would fade. That time would do what everyone promised it would do. Heal, soften, make bearable. But 3 years later, she's still here, still speaking to a sister who can't answer, still keeping a chair turned toward a window as if Iris might walk through the door at any moment and sit down like nothing ever happened. The apartment creaks. Old building sounds, pipes settling, the world continuing its indifferent turning. Noah doesn't expect an answer. She never has. That's not what this is about. This ritual isn't about communication. It's about continuation, about refusing to let go of the last thread that connects her to the person she loved most in the world. Good night, Iris, she whispers. And then, just as her eyes are about to close completely, just as sleep is about to take her under, she hears it, a breath, not her own, not the wind outside or the building settling or the refrigerator humming its mechanical lullaby. A breath, human, real, close enough that she can almost feel it against her cheek. Noah's eyes snap open. Her heart kicks hard against her ribs. She lies perfectly still, staring at the ceiling, every muscle in her body locked tight with something between fear and hope. The room is silent again. Empty. Just her and the lamplight and the dust drifting through the air like it always does. She tells herself she imagined it. That grief does strange things to the mind. That loneliness can make you hear things that aren't there. She tells herself all of this and almost believes it. Almost. But deep down, in a place she doesn't want to examine too closely, she knows something has changed. The ritual she's performed every night for 3 years has shifted. The air in the room feels different, thicker, more present. She doesn't move, doesn't speak, just lies there in the lamplight, listening to the silence, waiting for something she can't name. And for the first time in 3 years, Noah wonders if maybe, just maybe, she's not speaking into emptiness after all. She never expected an answer until the night she got one. The next morning, Noah wakes to sunlight cutting through the blinds in sharp, accusatory lines. She lies still for a moment, trying to remember if she dreamed the breath or if it was real. The memory sits in her chest like something swallowed wrong. Present, but impossible to digest. She gets up, makes coffee, goes to work. The library smells like old paper and dust and the particular silence that lives in buildings where people come to forget the world outside. Noah catalogs returns at the front desk, scanning barcodes, sorting books into their proper places. Fiction, nonfiction, biography, memoir. Everything has a system. Everything belongs somewhere. Mrs. Chen comes in at 10, like she does every Thursday, returning the book about birds, the one with the cardinals on the cover. Your sister would have loved this, Mrs. Chen says, smiling softly. Noah nods, forces her own smile. She would have. Mrs. Chen doesn't know that Noah still talks to Iris every night. No one does. Some griefs are too strange to share, too private. People would worry. They would use words like unhealthy and moving on and letting go. And Noah doesn't have the energy to explain that she's not holding on. She's just remembering out loud. At lunch, she sits alone in the break room, eats a sandwich she doesn't taste, thinks about the breath. It was nothing. Had to be nothing. But her hands shake slightly as she throws the wrapper away. When she was 7 and Iris was 9, they used to climb the oak tree in their backyard. Iris always went first, always higher. Noah would follow, branch by branch, watching where Iris put her hands and feet, mimicking her movements exactly. "Don't look down," Iris would call back, laughing. "Just keep looking up." Noah never looked down. She trusted that if Iris could do it, so could she. That was the shape of their relationship. Iris led. Noah followed. And it worked. Until the day Iris went somewhere Noah couldn't follow. The accident happened on a Tuesday in October. Rain. A car running a red light. Iris was 23, walking home from a coffee shop, earbuds in, probably humming along to some song Noah will never know the name of. The funeral was 3 days later. Noah doesn't remember it. Not the flowers or the faces or the words people said to comfort her. Grief erased those days like water washing over sand, leaving nothing behind but a blank, aching space where memory should be. What she does remember is the week after, waking up in Iris's apartment, which had somehow become her responsibility to clear out, finding the chair, the one Iris used to sit in by the window, drinking tea and watching the street below. Noah brought it home, put it at her own table, turned it toward the window. And that night, for the first time, she spoke into the darkness and told Iris about her day. 3 years later, she's still speaking. 3 years later, the chair is still facing the window. 3 years later, something has changed. That night, Noah comes home and makes dinner. Pasta with butter and salt, because cooking for one person doesn't require creativity. She eats, standing at the counter, looking at the chair. It sits in the same place it always does. Empty. Ordinary. Except it doesn't feel ordinary anymore. She finishes eating, washes the dish, dries it, puts it away. Everything in its place. Then she goes to the bedroom and lies down in the lamplight and begins the ritual. The library was slow today, she says to the ceiling. Mrs. Chen came in, asked about you. She pauses, listens to the silence. The refrigerator hums. The building creaks. I've been thinking about that tree, she continues, the one we used to climb. Remember how scared I was the first time? You told me not to look down. Just keep looking up. Her voice is soft, careful, the same way it's been every night for 3 years. But tonight she's listening differently, waiting for something she didn't wait for before. I miss you, she whispers. And then, just like the night before, she hears it. A breath. Closer this time. Warmer. Noah's entire body goes still. Her heart slams against her ribs. She doesn't move, doesn't breathe, just lies there in the lamplight, eyes wide, staring at nothing. The sound comes again. Not a voice. Not words. Just the soft, unmistakable sound of someone exhaling. Like someone sitting beside her, listening. Breathing in time with her own breath. She should be terrified. She should turn on all the lights, call someone, leave the apartment and not come back until morning. But she's not terrified. She's hopeful. And that, she realizes, is far more dangerous. Iris, she whispers into the dark. No answer. Just the breath. And then, faint but unmistakable, the scent of lavender drifting through the room. The same lavender Iris used to wear. Light and floral and impossible because Noah hasn't smelled it in 3 years. Her hands grip the sheets. Her throat tightens. She tells herself it's nothing. Old perfume caught in fabric, a trick of memory, grief playing games with her senses. But the scent doesn't fade. It lingers, soft and present and real. Noah closes her eyes, lets herself breathe it in, lets herself, just for a moment, believe that maybe, impossibly, Iris is here. She told herself she imagined it, but the next night she listened harder. Noah begins to test the silence. The third night, she lies in bed and speaks carefully, like someone learning a new language. Are you here? She waits, counts her own heartbeats, listens to the dark. Nothing. Then so faint she almost misses it. A creak, floorboards settling, or footsteps, she can't tell which. Her breath catches. She tries again. If you're here, let me know. The lamplight flickers, once, twice, then steadies. Noah sits up slowly, every nerve alight. She tells herself it's the wiring. Old building. Happens all the time. But her hands are shaking and her throat is tight with something that feels dangerously close to hope. She doesn't sleep that night. Just lies there, listening, waiting for more. The next morning, she finds a book on the shelf. The one about birds. The one she'd left on the kitchen table the night before, unopened. Now it sits exactly where Iris used to keep it, spine facing out, perfectly aligned with the others. Noah stares at it for a long time, tries to remember if she moved it herself. If maybe she put it there without thinking, muscle memory guiding her hands. But she knows she didn't. Her phone buzzes. A text from Rowan. Haven't heard from you in a while. Coffee soon? She reads it, doesn't reply. What would she even say? That she thinks her dead sister is moving books around her apartment? That she started asking questions into empty rooms and waiting for answers? No one would understand. And explaining would mean admitting out loud that this is happening. That she's not imagining it. She's not ready for that yet. At work, she catalogs books with trembling hands. Mrs. Chen comes in again, earlier than usual, returning a novel about sisters. "Thought of you when I read this," she says kindly. Noah nods, forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Thank you." She doesn't tell Mrs. Chen that she can't stop thinking about her own sister, that Iris feels closer now than she has in 3 years, that the grief she thought had settled into something manageable is now raw and present and alive again. That night, Noah comes home and doesn't eat dinner, just sits at the kitchen table staring at the chair across from her, the one facing the window. The evening light falls on it differently now, softer, like something is sitting there, bending the light around an invisible shape. She stands, walks closer, stops a foot away. "I need to tell you something," she says to the chair, to the air, to whatever is listening. Her voice is steady, but her heart is not. "I was jealous of you." The words come out quiet, confession soft. "You were the sun and I was the shadow. Everyone loved you first. I was always just Noah, Iris's little sister, the one who followed." The room is silent, but it's not the empty silence she's known for 3 years. It's the silence of someone listening, holding space for truth. "I loved you," she continues, and her voice breaks slightly. "But I resented you too. And I never told you that. I thought I had time. I thought we'd get older and I'd stop feeling like I was living in your shadow, and we'd just be sisters who loved each other, without all the complicated stuff underneath." She pauses, wipes her eyes. "And then you died, and I never got to say any of it." The curtain moves. The window is closed. Noah checked it twice before she started speaking, but the fabric shifts anyway, like someone brushed past it. Her breath stops. She watches the curtain sway once, twice, then still. "Iris," she whispers. And then she feels it. Warmth on her shoulder, not touching but close, like someone standing behind her, hand hovering just above her skin. Goosebumps rise along her arms, not from cold, from presence. The scent of lavender fills the room, stronger than before, almost overwhelming. It wraps around her like an embrace she hasn't felt in 3 years. Noah closes her eyes, lets herself feel it. All of it. The impossible comfort, the terrifying hope, the pull of something she knows she shouldn't need but can't let go of. "I should have called you that night," she says, voice barely louder than breath. "You asked me to come over, said you wanted to talk, and I said I was tired. I chose sleep over you, and the next day you were gone." The warmth on her shoulder intensifies, becomes almost tactile, like fingers pressing gently into her skin. Noah doesn't open her eyes. If she opens them, the moment will break. The warmth will vanish. The scent will fade. She'll be alone again. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm so sorry." A sound breaks the silence. Soft, barely audible, like pages turning in another room. Noah's eyes open. She turns slowly toward the living room. The book about birds is lying open on the coffee table. She knows, absolutely knows. It was closed when she walked past it moments ago. She walks to it, looks down at the open page. A photo of a cardinal, red against snow. The caption reads, "Some birds stay through winter, others migrate south. All of them know when to leave." Noah reads it 3 times. Doesn't know if it's a message or coincidence. Doesn't know if any of this is real or if grief has finally broken something fundamental inside her mind. But she knows one thing with absolute certainty. She doesn't want it to stop. She needs this. Needs the warmth, the scent, the signs. Needs to believe that Iris is still here, still listening, still capable of forgiving her for all the things she never said. The pull is stronger than logic, stronger than fear. And Noah, for the first time in 3 years, stops fighting it. She goes back to the chair, sits down in it, Iris's chair, the one she's never sat in. It feels wrong at first, like trespassing. But then the warmth settles around her again, and the wrongness fades into something that feels almost like forgiveness. "Tomorrow I'll tell you more," she says into the room, into the listening silence. "Tomorrow I'll say all of it." The lamplight flickers once, then holds steady. And then one night, Iris answered back, not with silence, with words. The voice comes on the 5th night, not out loud, not in the room. Inside her head, clear as memory but new, fresh, like someone speaking directly into the center of her thoughts. "I'm here, Noah. I've always been here." Noah freezes. Her breath stops. Her entire body goes rigid. In the lamplight, the voice sounds like Iris. The same pitch, the same rhythm. The way she used to say Noah's name with a slight upward lilt at the end, like it was always a question and an answer at once. "Iris?" Noah whispers into the dark. "Yes, is me." Tears come immediately, hot and fast and unstoppable. Noah covers her mouth with both hands, trying to hold in the sound, but it comes anyway, a sob that breaks free from somewhere deep and long buried. "I thought I'd never hear you again," she says through her fingers. "I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to reach you until you started listening. And for a moment, just a moment." It's everything Noah wanted. Everything she's needed for 3 years. Proof that Iris didn't just vanish. That death isn't the end. That love can survive even the most permanent kind of leaving. They talk, or Noah talks, and the voice answers. It tells her things she needs to hear, that she's proud of her, that she misses her too. That death isn't what anyone thinks it is. It's just a different kind of waiting, and she's been waiting for Noah to be ready. Noah asks questions. Does it hurt? Being gone? No, it's quiet, like sleep, but you don't dream. Are you alone? Not anymore. The conversation feels real, feels right, like picking up exactly where they left off 3 years ago, before the rain and the car and the silence that followed. But then the cracks start to show. "Remember that summer we climbed the oak tree?" Noah says, smiling through tears. "You went so high I thought you'd never come down." "Yes, and you followed me all the way to the top." "You were always braver than you thought." Noah's smile falters. "I didn't go to the top. I stopped halfway. You teased me about it for weeks." A pause. Just a beat too long. "Right. I remember now. Halfway." The warmth that's been sitting on Noah's shoulder suddenly feels colder, heavier. She sits up slowly. "What was the name of our neighbor's dog? The one who used to bark at the mailman?" "Chester. Big golden retriever." Noah's stomach drops. "We didn't have a neighbor with a golden retriever, and there was no dog named Chester." Another pause. Longer this time. "I'm sorry. I'm having trouble remembering." Noah stands, walks to the bathroom, turns on the light, looks at herself in the mirror. Her face looks older, hollower, dark circles under her eyes, cheekbones sharper than they were a week ago, like she hasn't been sleeping, like she hasn't been eating, like something is feeding on her. "Who are you?" she asks the mirror, asks the voice, asks whatever is inside her head, wearing her sister's voice like stolen clothing. "I'm Iris. You know I am." "No." Noah's voice is steadier now, harder. Iris would remember. She'd remember the dog's name was Bailey. She'd remember I never made it to the top of the tree. She'd remember. The voice doesn't answer right away, and in that silence, Noah feels something shift. The warmth on her shoulder disappears. The scent of lavender fades. The air in the apartment turns cold. Actually cold. She can see her own breath misting in front of her face. Does it matter? The question comes softer, almost sad. Does it matter if I'm exactly her, or just the parts of her you remember? I'm here. I'm listening. Isn't that what you wanted? Noah's hands grip the edge of the sink. Her knuckles go white. I wanted my sister, and I'm giving you what's left of her. The pieces that didn't disappear. The love. The memory. The connection. Isn't that enough? Noah looks at her reflection, sees the truth staring back at her, hollow-eyed, desperate, clinging to something that might not even be real. She thinks about the chair, the lavender, the books moving. All of it could be her. Her hands doing things she doesn't remember. Her mind creating presence where there's only absence. Grief playing tricks. Loneliness building ghosts. Or maybe it is Iris. Maybe death really did fracture her, scatter her, leave behind only fragments that can't quite remember being whole. Or maybe it's something else entirely. Something that found the shape of Noah's grief and crawled inside it. Wearing Iris's voice, feeding on her need. The terrifying part isn't not knowing which one is true. The terrifying part is realizing she's not sure it matters. Because even if this voice is wrong, even if it's broken or false or dangerous, it's still the only thing that feels like love anymore. The only thing that makes the apartment feel less empty. The only thing that makes her feel less alone. What if I need this, more than I need the truth? She whispers to her reflection. The voice doesn't answer, but the cold air warms slightly. The scent of lavender returns, faint but present. And Noah knows, absolutely knows, that she's made a choice without meaning to. She's choosing comfort over clarity, need over truth. And maybe that's the real haunting, not ghost in the room, but the ghost she's become. Haunting herself with a voice that tells her what she wants to hear, even when the details don't add up. She walks back to the bedroom, lies down, closes her eyes. Are you still there? She asks the dark. I'm here. Tell me you love me, even if it's not true. Just say it. A pause, then soft and almost tender. I love you, Noah. And she believes it. Or she pretends to. She's not sure there's a difference anymore. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand. A text from Rowan. Noah, I'm worried about you. Please call me. She reads it, doesn't answer, turns the phone face down. Another buzz. Vera this time. Sweetheart, I haven't heard from you in days. Are you okay? Noah silences her phone, puts it in a drawer, out of sight. The outside world is receding, becoming background noise. All that matters is this, the voice, the ritual, the feeling of not being alone, even if it's just an illusion she's created for herself. She could stop. She knows she could stop. Walk away from the chair. Stop speaking into the dark. Answer her phone. Let people back in. But grief is a country you can't just leave, not when staying feels like the only way to keep breathing. Days blur together. Noah stops going to work, calls in sick, then stops calling at all. The library leaves voicemails she doesn't listen to. Her phone fills with messages from Rowan, from Vera, from people who used to matter. She doesn't answer any of them, because the voice is always there now, not just at night, all day, constant, filling every silence. And Noah talks back, for hours, sitting in the chair by the window, speaking into the air, having conversations that look like madness from the outside, but feel like survival from within. The apartment falls apart around her. Dishes pile in the sink. Mail stacks by the door, unopened. The curtains stay closed. Dust settles on every surface. The only thing she maintains is the chair. Iris's chair. She keeps it clean. Keeps it facing the window. Keeps it ready. Her phone rings. She ignores it. It rings again and again. Then a knock at the door. Noah! Vera's voice, muffled through wood and distance. Noah, I know you're in there. Noah doesn't move from the chair, doesn't answer. Sweetheart, please. I'm worried about you. Another knock, harder this time. You haven't answered your phone in a week. The library called me. They said you haven't been to work. What's going on? Noah closes her eyes, wishes her mother would just leave, wishes everyone would just leave her alone with this. With the voice. With the only thing that feels real anymore. I'm fine, she calls out, but her voice sounds hollow even to herself. You're not fine. Vera's voice cracks slightly. Please, let me in. Let me help you. I don't need help. A long silence. Then softer. You have to let her go, Noah. You have to let yourself go. The words hit like a fist to the chest. Noah's hands grip the arms of the chair. Her jaw clenches. Because Vera doesn't understand. How could she? She doesn't hear the voice. Doesn't feel the warmth. Doesn't know what it's like to have even a fraction of someone back after losing them completely. Go away, Noah says. Noah, please, just go away. She hears her mother's breathing through the door. Hears her trying to decide whether to push harder or give up. Then finally footsteps, walking away, fading down the hallway. And Noah is alone again. Except she's not alone. She's never alone anymore. She doesn't understand, the voice says inside her head. Soft, sympathetic. No, Noah whispers. She doesn't. But I do. I understand. And that's the problem, isn't it? The voice understands. Or pretends to. And the pretending is close enough to real that Noah can't tell the difference anymore. The days continue. Time becomes meaningless. She eats when she remembers. Sleeps when exhaustion forces her. Spends the rest of the time in the chair, speaking to the voice, listening to it speak back. It tells her stories. Some she remembers. Some she doesn't. Some that can't possibly be true but sound true enough. And Noah doesn't correct it anymore. Doesn't point out the inconsistencies. Because what's the point? If this is all she has, if this voice, real or imagined, is the only thing keeping her tethered to something that feels like love, then why ruin it with questions? But then, one night, the voice says something different. You're keeping me here. Noah's eyes open. What? You're keeping me here, Noah. I can't leave until you do. Her breath catches. What are you talking about? This. Us. These conversations. You're holding on so tight that I can't go. And neither can you. Tears come, hot and fast. I don't want you to go. I know, but you have to let me. You have to let both of us go. Noah shakes her head. I can't. I don't know how. Yes, you do. You've always known how. You're just too scared to do it. And there it is. The truth she's been avoiding for 3 years, maybe longer. The truth that this ritual, this speaking, this listening, this desperate clinging to a voice that may or may not be real, isn't about keeping Iris alive. It's about keeping herself from having to face a world where Iris doesn't exist. She's been holding on to Iris so tightly that she's been holding on to her own pain, keeping it fresh, refusing to let time do what time does, refusing to heal because healing feels like forgetting, and forgetting feels like betrayal. The trap isn't supernatural. It's ordinary. It's grief that's become a habit. Love that's become a cage. Maybe we don't speak to the dead to bring them back. Maybe we speak to them because we don't know how to speak to ourselves anymore. If you've ever held onto a voice that couldn't answer, stay. Noah sits in the chair. Iris's chair. The one that stopped being a memorial months ago and became a prison instead. The lavender scent that once felt like comfort now feels cloying. Thick, hard to breathe through. Her hands are shaking, not from fear, from exhaustion, from the weight of carrying something too heavy for too long. A I'm so tired, she whispers. I know. I don't know who I am without you. Yes, you do? You just forgot? Noah closes her eyes, feels tears slip down her cheeks. What if I let you go and there's nothing left? Then you'll build something new, from the nothing. That's what people do. The apartment is silent. The voice doesn't speak again. And for the first time in days, maybe weeks, Noah hears the silence not as emptiness, but as space. Room to breathe, room to think, room to decide. She could keep going, keep speaking, keep pretending, keep living in this half-life where the only thing that matters is a voice that tells her what she wants to hear. Or she could stop. She could turn the chair around, open the curtains, answer her phone, let people back in, let time do what it's been trying to do for 3 years. She could choose herself, even if it means losing the last piece of Iris, even if it means facing the terrifying truth that some losses can't be undone, even by ghosts. The choice sits in front of her, heavy, impossible, necessary. She had one more night to decide, to speak, or to listen to silence. Noah wakes in the middle of the night. The apartment is dark. Silent. The kind of silence that feels like a question waiting for an answer. She lies there for a long time, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the choice pressing down on her chest, like a stone she can't move. Then she gets up, walks to the kitchen, stands in front of the chair, Iris's chair, the one she's never sat in, the one that's been waiting for 3 years like an empty throne. She sits down. It feels wrong at first, like trespassing in a place too sacred to touch. But then her body settles into it, and the wrongness fades into something else. Something that feels almost like coming home. She closes her eyes. I don't know if you're real, she says into the darkness. Her voice is steady, but her hands are shaking. I don't know if you were ever here, or if I just needed you to be so badly that I made you up. The silence doesn't answer. She didn't expect it to. But I need you to know something. Her throat tightens. I loved you. I love you still, more than I know how to say. Tears come, hot and immediate. She doesn't wipe them away. And I'm so tired, Iris. I'm so tired of carrying you, of carrying this, of waking up every day and pretending I'm okay when all I really am is empty. Her voice breaks. She grips the arms of the chair, feels the wood solid and real beneath her fingers. I thought keeping you here would make it hurt less. I thought if I just kept talking to you, kept the chair the same, kept everything exactly the way it was, then maybe you wouldn't really be gone. Maybe I could trick time into letting me keep you. She opens her eyes, looks at the window, the curtain still closed, the world outside locked away. But I can't keep doing this, because holding on to you means I'm holding on to the worst day of my life, over and over, every single night. The silence feels different now, not empty, not listening, just present, like the air itself is paying attention. So I need to let you go. The words come out barely louder than breath. Not because I don't love you, but because I do. And because love isn't supposed to be a cage. She waits, counts her heartbeats, wonders if the voice will come one last time, if it will fight her, beg her to stay, tell her she's making a mistake. But it doesn't. Instead, soft and clear and final, it says, "Then put me down." The words land like permission, like forgiveness, like the release she's been too afraid to ask for. Noah weeps, not the quiet tears she's cried for 3 years, not the ones she's learned to swallow back before anyone notices. These are different, full, breaking, the kind that come from somewhere so deep you didn't know it was there. She sobs into her hands, her whole body shaking, the sound filling the apartment, raw and ugly and human. She cries for Iris, For the sister she lost, for all the conversations they'll never have, for every moment stolen by rain and bad timing and a car running a red light. She cries for herself, for the 3 years she spent half alive, for the rituals that became chains, for the love that turned into haunting. She cries until there's nothing left, until her throat is raw and her eyes are swollen and her chest feels hollow in a way that's different from before. Not empty with loss, empty with space, room to breathe. When she finally stops, the apartment is silent again. But it's a different kind of silence. The lavender scent is gone. Completely. No trace of it in the air. The warmth that used to settle on her shoulder vanished. The voice in her head. Quiet. Finally. Truly quiet. Noah sits in the chair. Iris's chair. Except it's not Iris's anymore. It's just a chair. Wood and fabric and memory. Nothing more. Nothing less. She stands slowly, her legs unsteady. She grips the back of the chair. Looks at it for a long moment. Then she turns it around, away from the window, toward the table, where chairs are supposed to face. The action feels enormous, like moving a mountain with her bare hands. But also simple, just wood scraping against a floor, just an object being repositioned. She steps back, looks at it, the chair facing the table. Both chairs now oriented the same way, ready for people, for life, for something other than waiting. Moonlight comes through the window, pale and clean. It falls across the empty room, across the chair, across Noah's face. She doesn't speak, doesn't say goodbye again, doesn't need to. The ritual is over. Not because she's healed, not because the pain is gone, but because she's chosen something different, something harder and scarier and more real. She's chosen to let Iris stay dead, to stop resurrection, to stop haunting herself with a voice that could never truly be her sister, no matter how much she wanted it to be. She goes back to bed, lies down, closes her eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, she doesn't speak into the darkness. She just listens to the silence. And the silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels like peace, fragile, uncertain, but peace nonetheless. Morning came. And for the first time in 3 years, Noah didn't know what to say. The days after feel strange, hollow, but not empty, like a room after furniture's been moved. The space is there, but Noah doesn't quite know how to fill it yet. She wakes up the first morning and reaches for words. The ritual wants to start. Her mouth opens, ready to speak into the silence, but she stops herself, closes her mouth, lets the silence sit. It feels wrong, but also right, like learning to breathe differently. She gets up, makes coffee. The apartment looks different in daylight. Dust dances in the sunlight coming through the window. She opened an hour after turning the chair. The light falls across the table, across both chairs. Equal, ordinary. The coffee tastes bitter, but warm, real. She drinks it standing at the counter, looking at the chair that used to face the window and now faces the table like it was always meant to. It's just furniture again. But she remembers what it was, what it meant, and maybe that's enough. Her phone sits on the counter, fully charged, no longer hidden in a drawer. She picks it up, scrolls through messages, weeks of texts from Rowan, from Vera, from people who didn't stop reaching even when she stopped answering. She types slowly, "I'm sorry. Can we meet for coffee?" Sends it to Rowan before she can talk herself out of it. His reply comes within minutes. "Yes, today. Name the place." They meet at a cafe 2 blocks from her apartment. Small, quiet, the kind of place that doesn't ask questions. Rowan doesn't hug her, doesn't ask where she's been or what happened. Just sits down across from her and orders 2 coffees and waits. I haven't been okay, Noah says after a long silence. I know. I'm still not okay. I know that too. He doesn't ask her to explain, doesn't need the story, just sits with her while they drink coffee that's too hot and watch people pass by that window, and somehow that's enough. His presence, his patience, the fact that he's still here after weeks of silence. Thank you, she says quietly. He nods. Anytime. When she gets home, Vera is waiting outside her door, holding a small potted plant wrapped in newspaper. I tried calling, Vera says, not accusing, just stating fact. I know. I'm sorry. Vera looks at her, really looks, sees the dark circles, the weight loss, the hollowness that hasn't quite filled back in yet. But she doesn't say anything about it, just holds out the plant. Lavender, she says, from the garden. Thought you might want some. Noah takes it, feels the weight of the pot in her hands, smells the faint, earthy scent of the leaves. Not overwhelming, not supernatural, just lavender, a plant, a memory made tangible in a way that doesn't hurt. Come inside, Noah says. I'll make tea. They sit at the kitchen table, both chairs occupied now. Vera in one, Noah in the other. They don't talk about the door, don't talk about the weeks of silence. Instead, they make dinner together. Simple, pasta with butter and herbs from Vera's garden. As they cook, Vera moves around the kitchen with practiced ease, opens cabinets, finds what she needs, and Noah notices something she never saw before. A mug on the top shelf, Iris's favorite, the one with the chipped handle and the faded pattern. It's been there the whole time. Vera kept it, not hidden, not displayed, just there, part of the kitchen, part of the life that continues. You still have it, Noah says, nodding toward the mug. Vera follows her gaze, nods. Of course. Do you... Noah pauses. Do you talk to her? Vera's quiet for a moment, stirs the pasta. Not out loud, but in my own way, when I plant the lavender, when I use that mug, when I see cardinals in the yard. She turns to look at Noah. Everyone grieves differently, sweetheart. There's no right way to carry someone you've lost. You just find what you can carry and let go of what you can't. Noah's eyes sting, but she doesn't cry, just nods. They eat dinner at the table. The lavender plant sits in the center. The chairs face each other. The curtains are open. Light from the street lamps filters in, soft and golden. And for the first time in longer than Noah can remember, the apartment feels like a place where people live. Not just where someone waits. After Vera leaves, Noah washes the dishes, puts them away, waters the lavender plant, sets it on the windowsill where it can get sunlight. She thinks about Iris. Of course she does. She'll always think about Iris. But it's different now. The thoughts don't trap her, don't pull her under. They're just there, part of the landscape of her mind, present but not consuming. She thinks about the tree they used to climb, the way Iris would go first, always higher, always braver. She thinks about the funeral she doesn't remember, the 3 years of speaking into darkness, the voice that answered when she needed it most, whether it was real or not. She thinks about the chair, the ritual, the way grief can become a country you live in so long you forget there's a world outside it. And she thinks about the choice she made, to turn the chair, to stop speaking, to let Iris stay dead instead of trying to resurrect her every night. It wasn't healing, not yet, maybe not ever. But it was release, and sometimes that's more important. She goes to bed early, lies down in the lamplight. The room is quiet. No voice, no warmth on her shoulder, no scent of lavender unless she counts the faint smell drifting from the kitchen. Just silence, and her own breathing, and the knowledge that tomorrow she'll wake up and try again. And the day after that, and the day after that. She still thinks of Iris, every day, but she doesn't speak to her anymore. Months pass. Not quickly, not painlessly. But they pass. Noah returns to work. The library welcomes her back without questions. She catalogs books, sorts returns, finds comfort in the order of things. Fiction, non-fiction, biography, memoir. Everything has a place. Everything belongs somewhere. Mrs. Chen comes in one Thursday, returns a book about birds. Smiles at Noah like she always has. "How are you, dear?" "Better," Noah says, and means it. The lavender plant on her windowsill has grown. Vera comes by every week. They cook dinner together. Sometimes they talk about Iris. Sometimes they don't. Both feel right. Rowan texts less now, not because he cares less, but because Noah answers. They meet for coffee every Saturday. Sometimes they talk. Sometimes they just sit. Both feel like enough. One afternoon in early spring, Noah drives to the cemetery. She hasn't been since the funeral. Couldn't face it. Couldn't stand the idea of seeing Iris's name carved into stone. Making it permanent. Real. Finished. But today feels different. Like something she needs to do. Not out of obligation. Out of readiness. She brings lavender from Vera's garden. The stems wrapped in brown paper. Simple. Honest. The gravesite is quiet. Shaded by an oak tree. The stone is simple, too. Iris's name. The dates. Nothing poetic. Nothing that tries to make death mean something it doesn't. Noah sits on the grass. Sets the lavender against the stone. Doesn't speak. She just sits. Feels the wind moving through the branches above her. Watches the light change as clouds pass overhead. Hears birds somewhere distant, calling to each other in a language she doesn't understand but recognizes anyway. She thinks about the ritual, the chair, the voice, all of it, and she realizes she doesn't regret it, not even the darkest parts, because it was what she needed then, and stopping it was what she needed later. Both were acts of love, just different kinds. She stays for an hour, maybe longer. Time moves differently here, slower, more patient. When she finally leaves, she doesn't say goodbye, doesn't whisper anything to the wind or the stone or the memory of her sister. She just stands, brushes grass from her jeans, walks back to her car. On the drive home, she passes a woman on the sidewalk, talking on her phone, laughing, saying something Noah catches through the open window. "I miss you so much. I'll call you tomorrow." Noah smiles, because she understands now. We speak to the people we love because that's what love is. A kind of speaking that never really ends. Phone calls and text messages and stories told at dinner tables. Memories shared. Names said out loud just to hear how they sound. The ritual wasn't wrong. The speaking wasn't the problem. The problem was forgetting that love can exist in silence too. In the space between words. In the way you carry someone even when you're not talking to them. The healthiest love knows when to speak. And when to just remember. That evening, Noah sits at the kitchen table. Rowan is across from her. Cards spread between them. Some game he's trying to teach her that she's terrible at. But she's laughing anyway. And he's laughing too. And the apartment feels full in a way it hasn't in years. The window is open. Evening light pours in, golden and forgiving. The kind of light that makes everything look softer than it is. A breeze moves through the room, carries with it the faint scent of lavender. Not from the plant on the windowsill, from somewhere else, somewhere distant, a garden maybe, or a memory, or both. Noah doesn't say anything, doesn't close her eyes and try to hold on to the moment. Just lets it be what it is. A breeze, a scent, a feeling. She feels it then, the shape of Iris in the room. Not as a presence, not as a voice or warmth or anything she can touch. Just as an echo, the way all love echoes long after the person is gone. It's in the laughter, in the open window, in the two chairs both occupied now, in the way Noah has learned to carry grief alongside joy instead of choosing one or the other. Iris is still here, not because Noah speaks to her, but because Noah remembers and carries and lives. And that's enough. Rowan plays a card, grins. You're losing again. Noah shakes her head. I'm terrible at this. You really are. They keep playing. The cards shuffle. The light fades into evening. The breeze continues moving through the apartment. Soft, gentle, present. Noah thinks about her sister. She'll always think about her sister. Every day, in small ways and big ones. In moments that hurt and moments that heal. But she doesn't speak to her anymore. She doesn't need to, because some conversations never end. They just learn to live in the silence between words.